So today we are going to be talking about copywriting for social media, which, to be honest, is a thing that people in the performing arts struggle a lot. And sometimes we don't need like to overthink or complicate to just put content out. Sometimes we'd like to simplify. So today you are going to teach us how to simplify our copywriting like to social media. So
Yeah.
some topics. So the first question for you. So what's the importance of being like consistent, planning in advance, doing the calendar for your content? So can you explain?
I believe that is vital. So when you start to deal with your online presence, and when you start to put up some content of your own, you need to focus, and you need to realize that if you are not going to be consistent, you better not start at all, because people tend to forget you as very, 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 very fast. So if you are going to be there for, imagine if you post something today, and if you just go rogue and disappear for 1 month, and then you come back again and put something again, and you go out for another month. This way you can always be sure that things will not be successful. You will not be able to gather some community around you, because people only remember what they see times and times and times again. You just go with advertising, for instance. Uh, the biggest ads that you remember are the ones you have seen for a lot and lots of times. I always do tell this example of Ferreiro Rocher in the commercial in Portugal. It's the same for, I don't know, 20 years already, because everyone knows what the butler says to the lady that goes in the back. Everyone knows where this pyramid of chocolate comes out from the box, and what she says to him. And so everyone knows about it because it's repetitive. It's being on air for at least 20 years. And with people, it's the same thing. So we live today in a world where um, the sources of information are just too much for us to handle. And if you just consume information on your news feeds, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, the timeline, on Instagram, and if you don't realize, if you don't recognize, I believe that's the expression, if you don't recognize that person that is trying to talk to you from before. So if you just land on the platform and you see someone trying to sell you something, you are going to just do something to your nose. Like you are going to, how do you say it in English? You are going to be like, who the hell is this guy? What is he trying to tell me? And it gets worse when you're trying to sell something to someone, because people don't want to buy anything from you. People don't go to social media to buy anything. It just happens to be there. So people go to social media to take a peek in other people's lives. They are going to try to understand what their friends are doing, what their friends are saying, where are their friends going, and that's the main purpose that we go to social media, to be in contact with other people, with our friends, with our neighbors, with our people we used to know. Afterwards, we try to and most of all, people that work with this and work in this internet cyberspace, we are going to look for something that can help us solve any sort of issue. And being consistent, it ends up in being the only language that you can use to pass on to your public, to your audience, that you are always there. You are always there for them. You are always there to help. You are always ready to help. And that has to be the point, being consistent and being always able and available to help someone
Okay.
without asking anything in return. Okay. So that's my number one advice. You put up with a calendar. Go look at your calendar, because the calendar has this amazing psychological effect that is to force you, in between commas, it forces you to be responsible to the planning you have just made. So if you made a plan, if you are making a plan for the next 2 months, if you line up the weeks, and if you line up the posts you are going to make for those weeks, it becomes really simpler and really easier to manage all of that, because managing a social media presence, it's hard as hell. And if you open your brand just right now, and the first thought is, I have to be in all social media platforms that are over there, and that is a huge, not I will not say a mistake, but it's a huge risk, because the day has 24 hours. 8 of them or 7 of them are used to sleep, and it leaves you with 17, 16 hours, and you do a lot of stuff. You have to work, you have to exist, you have to, if you have children or a business, you have to run that business, you have to look up for your kids, you have to look up for your home. And so if you become just overwhelmed by the fact that you exist in 5 or 6 different platforms, plus the email marketing campaigns that you are trying to do, you are going to spend a bad time. I can guarantee you, because I've been there and done that, and suffered as hell.
Yeah, and this leads us like to another topic, because like for like conversations with a lot of artists, like very talented. First they say, yeah, but I need to practice my art and I don't have time to manage my social media. And second, some of them, they admit they are not patient, you know? So
Yeah,
I think here, as you're trying to say, like, so do you advise like some repetition like on your message on what you're trying to say, but sometimes you
for
still
sure.
with patience. So how
Yes.
do you cope with patience? Because
It's an
that,
exercise that you carry on through your life, Bernardo, because you are looking to in front of you. It's a guy that is not the most patient guy in the world. I have never been, but it can be educated. You can train this. You can train yourself to be more patient. You know, one of the things that has taught me a lot in my life, it's reading and books. And so and also talking with friends, and networking with some people that they are just more experienced than I am. They're older, they have done more things, they have seen more things. And when you start to read and to listen to a lot of people, and saying that in fact we live too fast, we live too fast and too furious, and that is not good. And we have just reached a time in our lives, because of this coronavirus pandemic, uh, where we had some time to think about all of this, and patience is extremely important. And I will add another thing to patience: sleep.
sleep, yeah.
Sleep is really freaking unbelievably important to your mental sanity. And I'm the guy that still today I sleep like 6 or 7 hours, 6, 5, 6, 7 hours a night, mostly closer to 5, 6. But in during this pandemic, and most of all in the time where we were forced to stay at home, I was starting. I have a small kid with a girl with 4 years old, and she was home with us for almost 3 months, and I was starting to work at 11 o'clock in the night, and I would go at until 3 p.m., 3 a.m. I mean, and then I would go to sleep at around 4, and woke up at 8 again. So it was I was doing 4 hours of sleep a night for 3.5 months. And when you think that's enough for me, that's cool, that's okay, I can work with that. After 2 or 3 months, you start to notice that your temper is just a little so different. You get angry all the time. You get this face all the time. You are always worried. Well, you are always thinking wrong. You are always thinking bad things, and when you think bad things happen.
Yeah.
Okay, when you put yourself in this kind of mood, all that is surrounding you will be negative and will not be good. And so I will say that yes, sleep is very important, and also in due to what we are speaking, um, the problems of trying to do everything around what we do, because of course I understand what they say and what the people seeing us right now are thinking, because I'm an artist, I have to work, I also have to work, I'm a writer, I have to write. And if I don't, and I just so understand, and I'm so close to what you are feeling, because when I don't write or when I don't read in my days, I get angry, and because I need to do it. It's like something that comes inside from inside of me that is forcing me to do. I have to do this, otherwise I will get really bad. I will not be good. I will not be happy. I will be sad and worried and blaming myself for not doing that instead of being in a computer, trying to sell my workshops, trying to make prospection of clients, trying to find the means to be happy and to bring happiness to my home. And when you think about it, if you are, man, we have, how old is the person that the oldest person that you have in your audience? 40.
Yeah.
40.
Yeah.
So 40 years old. It's middle aged.
Yeah.
We have energy to do this. We can do this. And if we are disciplined and if we manage ourselves to create some systems that help us doing all the things we want to do, we can do this. It's not rocket science. It's not. I'm not trying to put a rocket in the space just like Elon Musk is doing. It's not that. It's writing, and it's trying to communicate with people, trying to get close to people. Because in Bernardo, as you know it, you went to my workshops. The fundamental thing in copywriting is selling something, an idea, a subscription, a dancing program, teaching lessons to kids, whatever. But the main purpose is to persuade someone to do the things you want them to do. And if you want them to buy your stuff, you have to convince them that they need your stuff. And it's really funny because I'm now reading this book. I'm showing you the title. It's in Portuguese, but you will. I don't know if you know it, but I believe someone in your audience have already read it. It's How to Make Friends and Influence People from Dale Carnegie. It's a book wrote in 1936, I believe so, but it's so unbelievably actual. And it's one of the biggest bestsellers in the whole planet of all time. And it's really cool because it tells us something so good. In first place, it is that people don't care about us at all. They don't. They care about themselves. And if you interrupt their thoughts and their thinkings just to tell them you have something to sell and they need to buy it, they will send you to someplace not pleasable, not enjoyable, because people don't want to buy anything, or else people don't want to have someone selling them stuff. They want to buy stuff. You see the difference? They want to feel that they are in control. I'm the one buying you. It's not you trying to sell me some. So if you are trying to make an effort to put up your business, to put up your solo career, you need to communicate. Because communication it's the basis of everything, and I believe really I'm a strong believer that most of the world's problems are caused by misinterpretations and lacks of communication and bad communication at all. So you can solve problems communicating clearly. being as clear as water, being as no one can accuse you of being too clear. It's just stupid. Oh, you speak with a very clear form. I don't understand you. It's impossible. Don't. If you have to pick up one thing in your content, is that be clear. Tell people what they want to listen, but tell them in a language they understand. Don't try to speak to your niche. Of course, if you are speaking, if you are a ballet trainer, and if you are speaking to a class of dancers, of course you are going to use words, specific words from your mean. But even so, you can be clear. You can speak in a language that your grandma will understand. Your nephews are going to understand. So that is very important. And when people tell me they don't have time, they have time. They
Yeah.
do have time. If you don't spend 2 hours a day in your Instagram, you can pick up half an hour, or you can pick up one of those 2 hours, and you leave one to your Instagram and the other one to try to communicate and to try to think what you are going to say to people. Because when you don't have nothing to say, it's even harder. And José Saramago, our Portuguese Nobel Prize of Literature, he used to say that it should not be allowed to write. I'm sorry, I have to think in Portuguese and translate at the same time. If you are not, you should not be allowed to write no more if you have nothing left to say.
Yeah.
Because it should be a crime when you have nothing to say. But when you have something to say and you need to say it and you want, because you have learned that, you have studied that, and you have the natural will to transmit that to other people, please God, just do it. Focus yourself. Try harder. Try the fuck harder,
Yeah.
because it's available. You just need this. Just need this. So when someone tells me, oh, because I need so much to, I really need to talk in social media and to try to make a presence, but I don't have time, I don't have patience. You have time and you have patience. Just work on that. Just try to be a little more open to understand yourself and to know yourself. Because when you don't know yourself, that's the main problem. When you don't know yourself, you don't know what you are capable of. And most of all, our brain is our best friend and our worst enemy, because our brain is just always trying to protect you, always. And if you go up to some situation when your brain finds it's going to be hard, is going to start to persuade you that you should not do that, because it's going to be hard, it's going to be boring, it's going to be tough and difficult, and you could be just watching TV in the
Yeah.
night. So why the hell should you bother in doing more than you are doing now? You have to force your brain to go there.
Yeah, definitely. And like, for example, there's like a struggle when I see like artists like trying to promote like their performance, their shows or whatever. They don't know where to start. So imagine like you have an image, you have a video, whatever, just rough, plain. What is your secret, just like to organize what you are going to write about that image or that video? So how do you like, just very briefly, how do you start to have ideas to write about an image or a show that is coming? So
Okay. In first place, I look, being a writer and being someone that spends a lot of time thinking in what he writes and reads, I mostly look at things in a point of view that can be shared. Let me try to explain this better. When I look to something that just calls to my attention, when I look to, it's like a call to action, an implicit call to action. When I look at something, I feel it in my guts that I have to say something about it, and I go. I don't do overthinking a lot, because overthinking, it's a silent killer. Overthinking, it's going to make you not make anything. It's going to make you stop. It's going to make you, maybe I should not talk about it. Because first, you need to know, basic things like who is my audience, uh, why are they with me, why do they even care about me, what do I have in my art, in my experience, in my lifetime experience, in my work experience that is compelling, and it's something that makes people want to listen to what I have to say. Is there anything? Okay, what's my niche? What is my area of expertise that I can really talk about because I know it. I've been working on this area for a lot of time. I've had a lot of experiences. I've had a lot of failures, and that's the things we should talk about. And most of all, for me, it's like that. It's stories. I listen to stories all the time in the street. And my ears became trained. I'm in a line in a supermarket, and I'm snooping. That's the thing. I'm listening to what people are saying, and sometimes you catch these conversations of worried people about something in their lives. And that's for me, for instance, that's what I look for. I look for people that are telling stories about problems they live in their life. Uh, just normal problems as I cannot do this because of that. I need to this. Okay. And I find that really empathetic. I find that I feel empathy for these people, and so I try to write about what I think they are feeling, and that's one of the secrets of trying to find something to write about. Is you should try to put yourself in your audience shoes and try to understand what they are looking for. And you cannot forget that people don't care about you. They care about what things you are going to say that can help their lives to move on. It can help them to answer to a certain problem they are facing. It can be how can I be promoted in my work? How can I get a raise in my salary? How can I try to convince that girl to go out with me? How can I speak up to my father and tell him he was an asshole for all most of my life? It's day by day problems. And when you think in storytelling, for instance, um, all of us live day by day stories, and we all face day by day problems. We all have problems. The heroes are not only in the movies. Everyone can be a hero in his own story. You can be a hero if you are trying to get a promotion, and if you are able to convince your boss that you deserve it, and he gives it to you because you tell a great story of how you want to do better for the company. How you know your boss's work is really difficult, but you are just trying yourself so hard to help the company raise and to do good things. So in our day by day experiences, we all can find something to tell to people. For you guys, you are working in the dance world, in the art, in the artist environment. So I believe you are going to speak up to other upcoming artists, people who want to become an artist and just doesn't know quite sure for sure what path must follow. So share your own experiences. Share most of all your struggles. Where did you struggle? Why did it happen? How did you solve it? What was the process you used to? I was really in a bad way. I was living with my mom. I wanted to leave home, but I was short of money. So what did I do to follow this dream of being a dancer? I went to work in McDonald's for I don't know how much time, and then this one time, this group of people just came up. I had picked up my salary check, and they stole me, and they stole my check from me, and I don't know. You understand the thing is tell people some things that you want to hear, and most of all share your own experience, not in a way that puts yourself as a hero, because heroes are always the people who are listening to us. So try to be to show the people that you are a friend, and just give, share content, share knowledge, share techniques, share techniques you can just teach to people in a video, in a basis video, in a 5 by or a 10 slideshow pictures with step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Just join my newsletter if you want to learn more free lessons of Ballet 101. I don't know. But this is very important. When you share, and only in the end of it, you are able to start to asking people to do something for you. Okay.
And able to receive as well, like
yeah. And give, and then ask for something.
Yeah, and that's a very important point. For example, when you are trying to sell tickets to people, like to go to your show, why they are going to buy your tickets if you are not like giving any value to them? Like, you can be the most talented, you can have the best dance performance ever. Whoa, that's amazing. But if you are not going to add value, you are not like going to sell tickets. Unless you are like the Lion King musical or something like that. I mean, in normal circumstances, it's very hard. So yeah.
It is, and you just mentioned some important aspect, because you always must know what is your value proposition, what is your value proposal, what are you trying to give that is going to add some value to those people's lives. What do you have in your experience, in your lifetime experience, that can be shared and that can teach someone to overcome some sort of difficulty or problem that he's facing? And if you can do this, Bernardo, you have the world's doors just remain open for you, because when you start to be recognized as someone that helps others, man, that is good for you. That is really good stuff, because then it starts to happen things like user-generated content, where people just speaks up for you and tells how greatly and how important it was to attend to your show, to have this half an hour experience of talking to you in private, in a video, in a conversation, in an interview, and learning about your insights. And for God's sake, if we are not here to help each other, and if we are not here to share what we know with other people, what are we doing here as well?
Yeah,
definitely. Thing.
Definitely.
This is a time for help. Because things are going to get really rough in the winter, I believe, with this motherfucking virus.
That's a very good important insight, because the dance sector, I mean, like globally, is a lot competitive, you know.
Yeah, I believe
There's
so.
still like a lot of the mindset that competition is everything, because like the career of a dancer is the same as a football player, you know. It's very short. If you have an injury, if your knee broken,
it's over.
You have to stop, you know. So the competition is huge. Yeah. So we are trying here to raise awareness that it's also important to do other steps out of the stage.
You know something. I was just thinking now that the singers, for instance, they do a lot of featuring work. They they make like these joint ventures, and they compete as well, of course. But what is the great thing in life, I think, is that you have audience for all sorts of things. Yeah. All sorts of things. And you can split your attention with a coworker. You can create something not in solo, but in group, and you can try to, and as a group, as a team, you of course you have always someone that comes up and just look at. I'm thinking in the Portuguese national team, soccer team, football team. This year, 2020, we have a really good team. Like I believe it is even better than the one that was that became European champion. But you have one player that comes up always. It's Ronaldo. He always comes up because he's too good. But if you don't have the other 10 running for him and trying to put him in a place where he can just do what he does best, it's score goals like a maniac, if you don't have that support, he wouldn't be anyone. So of course, there's always someone that shines brighter, like Rihanna says, right? Shines bright like a diamond. But you have to open space for the other ones. You have to maybe think that the change of mind and of mindset, it's not from the industry. It has to come from us.
Yeah.
We are the ones that must try to change what is pre-established. Yes, dancing is a very competitive world, of course. Yes, football is a very competitive world, of course. But can or can we not do things in a different way?
Yes.
Can or can we not do things and try to do in a different way, in being more human, being more concerned with everyone's happiness, and not just with one guy that goes home and earns the salary of all the other team members combined, because that's the way of making injustice eternal.
Yeah, yeah. I think that the industry, the sector, like any sector, is a mirror of what people
Of
do.
course,
Actually,
it's made of people. It's
yeah,
made of people.
yeah, exactly. That's the thing. And with this all like technology evolving, we think like the industry is like a robot. It's not. It's still
It's not.
people.
Yeah.
So I think it's all about like changing the mindset. Yeah,
Yep.
a very good and important aspect to it. Yeah.
You know something. You still to this point we were talking. There's something really. I think it's really important to do when we start to communicate and to put up our pieces of content out there. It's you have to tell people what are the benefits they can achieve, they can accomplish if they do business with us, or if they buy our stuff, if they read our ebooks, if they see our videos. People has to know in the first place what they can get from us. And in the workshop, the web copywriting workshop I gave and where you attended,
Yeah.
I give a very clear example. Is imagine that British Airways or Qantas is offering a free is offering you 10,000 miles if you subscribe for their members program in the company. And if you and you just get this email saying get 10,000 miles if you subscribe our members program, and you just open the email, you look at that, and imagine you have just entered in a plane for one time in your life. You never heard anyone talking about this members program, and what the hell is a miles program? What does it has you? Okay, they can give you, let's suppose, 100,000 miles, and what's the first thing you ask? What can I do with 100,000 miles?
Where can I go? Yeah.
Where can I go? Can I go to anywhere, or just this is I believe if they wanted to give me a free ticket to anywhere, they would give me the ticket. They would not tell me it's 100,000 miles, because 100,000 miles it might be enough to go from Australia to Indonesia. I don't know, or for inside Australia to from Sydney to Brisbane. I don't know. But if, on the other hand, you tell people that you just join our member program and you win 100,000 miles, that allows you to go from here to Japan, one way and return, this trip for two people, okay, it's tangible. I can now understand perfectly what are you trying to offer me. And this is very important because, again, people don't care about us for anything. They just want to know what's in it for me. What can I just get from signing and giving you my email? What can I win if I pay this trial of 15 euros a month and start to listen to, or to see your rehearsals? And that's the things you can do. You can make a live to Facebook or to Instagram and showing a bit of your rehearsals. Show people the backstage. People love backstage. People love to know what's happening on the back part of a show. So be very clear in showing people what they can win on going to your place, or going to your live show, or going to attend your live show in a theater. Just tell them what they can win. Don't be vague. Be specific and be clear. Again, be very clear, because these kind of people, most of them, the audience you are trying to get, some of them are not dancers.
Yeah.
Some of them are not professional dancers. They just love art, and they want to see your art. So give them what you can do best, your art.
Yeah. It's basically like a free backstage passport.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Basically. So yeah, cool. So and now to finish, again, I don't want to be annoying, but I would just like go a little bit backwards. But someone comes and says like, oh, I don't know how to write. I suck at writing. I can't do this. What you say?
I listen to that every day. Okay, and I just have to say something. Copywriting is not literature. You are not trying to win a Pulitzer. You are not trying to win a Nobel Prize. No way. Okay, that is other type of writing. In here, you are just trying to sell shit. Okay, you are trying to sell something to someone. And believe me, I know a lot of copywriters. They used to suck at school. They used to suck at school, really, and they used to be really bad in Portuguese classes or English classes. They used to fail. But when they realized the mechanic behind this and what kind of techniques you can use to achieve your goals and to have a more decent outcomes, and to increase your sales, they the face they do is just like if they were seeing God, because it's really simple, and it's not rocket science. You can be great at this and sucking at school, and you can be a very good copywriter and not being a novelist. You can do this. For me, it was easier because my background was from journalism, so the storytelling, the copywriting part was already mixed up. But then again, you have to know your audience. You have to know what you are going to say to them, and for the love of God, don't try to be funny just for the sake of being funny, because people might not think you're funny, and that's bad. That's bad, because it makes you in those awkward positions of making us. We in Portuguese we have that expression of vergonha alheia. It's become when you become embarrassed with something that someone is doing, and you just feel it like, oh my God,
Yeah, yeah.
the poor guy, and it's not good. So what I say is that yes, you can definitely believe that it is possible to be a good copywriter and don't like to write at all, because I am a writer, and yes, I like to write romances and a novel or fiction, but I also like to do this. But you don't have to be just like me. You
Yeah.
just I think that the most important thing, Bernardo, is it's even you having it's for you to have in your inner self the will to help people and to make money. Make money. If you want to, you like you're a guy that just likes to reach and to get his goals and to overcome it and to establish new ones. And always, if you like the competition of this, then the thing is try to be as simple as you can be, and trying to be just trying always trying to remember that people are just like you and me,
Yeah.
and they internet might have changed a lot of things, but people are still the same, and they still value the same, and they value honesty, truth, to be sincere, to be faithful, and just not to try to put up with any scheme to get my money. Yes, if you want my money, you are going to have to deserve it. And so talk to me in a way that makes sense to my head, because as you know, we daily we are invaded by tons and tons of hundreds of communications trying to sell me something. You just go to your email box. You just go to your mailbox in your building. Everyone is trying to sell something to someone, and so the world is going to be like this for a lot of time. And you can also try to sell your art and try to sell the things you do if you are compelling enough to convince people that they need to see you, because something is going to change in their lives if they come to see you. What is going to change? This and this and this and this and this.
Yeah. Cool. Great way to end this lovely conversation. Thank you so much. Hello?
You made me this invitation. I just accepted in the first place because it's an opportunity to try to speak in this about this in English. That is a nice challenge, and I really love challenges. And I think that if you can pass on a message of the fundamental importance of clarity and honesty, and really just be brutally honest, do it, do it, because there's also a good thing about it. It's you don't have to print any material, you don't have to place billboards in the street. Try it on, test it, see what goes wrong and what goes good. See if you have two posts, and one was made in the evening and the other one was made in the morning. One has 250 likes and the other one has one or two. Just abandoned the method of the one or two, because you see people didn't like. And it's not about you, it's not about what you like, it's about what people want to see. Don't forget this. Now I'm going to speak direct to the camera. Don't forget this. It's not about you, it's about them. Okay?
Definitely.